Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to have conversations with diverse people who are impacting lives positively. Well, this is your girl, Kemi Akiode Adebayo, aka Mama K. And in today's program, I've got a lovely dear sister friend who I've known for many years, courageous, determined, hardworking. She's an entrepreneur, Mrs. Michelle Jones, and she's the business owner of Embroidery Home, which is based in Retreat, Capetown, South Africa. My dear Michelle, how are you today?
I'm very well, Mama Kemi, and it's so wonderful to have you in our home again.
I know, it is a home.
Yes.
Each time I come here, I feel at home, which
Definitely.
is what the name is. But we'll come to that unique name of Embroidery Home. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Michelle? Where were you born? Where were you educated? What was life growing up for you? Anything you want to share?
Well, Kemi, I basically grew up in the apartheid era.
Okay.
So I'm one of 5 siblings, 2 girls and 3 boys.
And what's your position?
My position is actually
A middle
the,
child.
no, somewhere in the middle, but actually the second baby, you can say. I have a younger brother.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're the one, probably mom and dad felt, almost the last, but not the last.
Exactly. I think they actually thought that it was the last because
Okay.
mom had my baby brother at 40. So, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So one of 5 children grew up in the apartheid area. Where were you born exactly?
In
Cape
Heathfield,
Town?
yes.
Okay.
Cape Town, in
Heathfield?
Heathfield. So it's very close by.
Okay.
I'm still in the area. My dad was an extremely hard worker. He started off as a bus driver. And as I mentioned, it was in the apartheid era. So it was extremely strange now to look back because we used to meet him at certain points because Friday nights was our shopping night and
Okay.
he got paid every fortnight. So we would meet him and then because of our color at that stage, we couldn't sit with him on the bus. So we'd either have to sit upstairs or, So yes, strange times.
Really?
Really. Strange times, yeah.
Wow.
But
I keep learning every day.
every day, yes.
Yo.
So he then became a truck driver for the city of Cape Town. And because my mom was a housewife, yes, at home mom, he used to work crazy hours because he did as much overtime as he possibly could. He was also very involved in the brigade at that time, which is our church brigade. So he was constantly busy. And, we had a 2-bedroom place. So the 5 siblings basically all shared a room. But what a great time. Because we had such bonds, and we chatted into the night, and I think that's sadly lacking today.
And I know, I think a lot of people have been sharing this about the values, the family, values that we've lost, in this day of everything is now, hurry, hectic. And,
Yes.
like you said, even though you were 5 in a 2-bedroom with 2 parents, a mom and a dad, you were happy, I'm sure. And
Definitely.
even though those times, like you said, was during difficult times. In South Africa.
Yes.
But the bond and the love, you all shared within yourself was, wow. Education-wise, did you school around the area as well?
Schooled in the area. So we went to Heathfield Primary, which was known as Punts at that time.
Right.
Yes, the school is still there, still exists. So that's where I was educated. And then as a high school, my mom had gone to Immaculata, which was a girls' school. And my sister went there. And because of her being there, I was then also accepted. And I was matriculated in 1986 from Immaculata.
Wow.
Yes.
It's always good to attend schools that siblings go.
Yes.
Although yours was an older sister, so
Yes.
you'll be following her around. I'm sure.
Exactly. And our teachers always refer to your sister.
Yes, your sister. I know. I was like the first of 3,
Yes.
that went to the same school as well. So it was probably difficult for them. But in hindsight, because I was not as brilliant as our third one, who was exceptionally brilliant.
Yes.
So it was the other way around
Yes.
for us, whereby they go, oh, she's like that and you are like that.
Exactly. So luckily, I was accepted because of my sister's achievements as well.
Wow, interesting.
Yes.
So how did you get into business? How did you start? When? Why? How did you do that?
You know, Kemi, it's actually quite a strange story.
Okay.
In that I was in the corporate sector for a very long time.
Okay.
And as you know, one works extremely hard. So I dedicated a lot of my time to growing in the company. And I ended up as the branch administrator for the company. And then in 2002, I had my daughter Hannah, and at the time we were based in Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape.
Okay.
And when I got back to work after I've had her, they told me that they were centralizing the position. And of course, you can well imagine I was devastated because I had dedicated more of my time to growing in the company. I feel almost as though you neglect your family in the process. So it was a terrible shock to me. And then let me just go back a couple of years to when my baby Daniel was born. He was my firstborn. Okay. And all I wanted was to have his name on a drill tool. The story is so amazing. I had a friend working with me at the time, and she had a drill tool made for Daniel all the way from Pretoria. And they sent it to Eastern Cape, to PE, where we were based. And of course, that started my interest. I really wanted a personalized gift for my son, and I started looking at the machines. When the branch then decided in 2002 to centralize my position, I just felt drawn back into that, that thought process.
Wow.
And I started looking at a domestic machine, which looks very much like your normal sewing machine. I'm talking about a normal home sewing machine.
Right.
And that's where it started. When when I was retrenched, I bought my first machine. And by the grace of God, they offered me a position as a sales assistant. They were opening a sales position in PE. It was a completely new idea, which they did. And I did a psychometric test at the time. And they decided, or they said that I needed an assertiveness course, which I did by God's grace. I always say that because, those are all things that He places on your path and that equips you for where you're going to end up. So when I started my own business, I actually had a sales background, which I never had before that. So Embroidery at Home started in my lounge as a hobby.
Okay, what year was that?
That was in 2004 that I actually officially, started on my own. I then resigned between 2002 and 2004.
Right.
And then started on my own, making just drill tools, towels, personalized gifts for people.
Wow.
So that's where it started. In the home, in the lounge, on a little domestic.
At that time you were retrenched.
At that time I was retrenched, yes.
So, and this obviously came from a need, you had to now starting up in business. So what do you do at Embroidery at Home, and how has the journey been for you? Any challenges, any success story you want to share?
Kemi, I would say that the journey for me has been quite challenging in that I have tried to get financial backing and things like that, and it hasn't been easy. I sometimes think that Embroidery at Home should be an NGO instead of if you understand what I'm saying, because my heart goes out to the community. And to me, I measure success in being able to employ people and by God's grace having a salary at the end of each week that I can pay them. So that's where I measure my success. Embroidery at Home has grown tremendously from the time that we started in my lounge. I think when you where you visited. And then when in 2006, if I can just go back to that, we were transferred back to Capetown. Capetown being my hometown, as I told you, I grew up in the area. Capetown being my hometown, we always wanted to come back because of family reasons, not because of, we just loved the Eastern Cape. And we moved back, and just the whole trend and the excitement in Cape Town was quite different.
Okay.
So people were looking at P-caps. They wanted different things which couldn't be done on my domestic machine. Hence, our first embroidery industrial machine arrived in my lounge in Alphindale. You saw my home. And that's where it arrived. And that's where Embroidery at Home, I think, was birthed. Wow. So today we do more corporate clients, where we do corporate branding. I think my niche in the market will always be, because we do personalized gifts, we will do your small business items. So if you are an entrepreneur with only one person in your business, we will do your one shirt. We will brand it for you. That is our niche.
Testify to
yes. That is our niche in the market. We have grown tremendously from where we started.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Well done. I've seen the growth. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Kimmy.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've grown tremendously. This started as a niche at home. The challenges you've shared with finance. How did you manage to overcome those financial challenges?
You know, we were in contact. We had been doing branding for a company called Nordex.
Okay.
And we had been doing branding for them. And then they contacted us for about an ESD program, which was about 6 years ago. And it was just at the right time, you know, at the right time where we just needed a break. You know, and not knowing what the next couple of years was going to hold. Just speaking about COVID and all the other challenges that businesses have had. And Kemi, when they were placed on our path, we then received a 6-head industrial embroidery machine from them. Okay. The outbuilding that you so love, that was also one of the, you know, because we needed the space, we needed to grow. Our machines was in the garage. We now needed to actually move it into an area, a bigger area. Right. So they then did the outbuilding for us as well, and some of our computer equipment. So in that way, we did receive financial assistance. Right. Our growth, I think, as I've said to you, is measured in the amount of people we can employ and still employ today.
And I've seen, you know, the fact that some of your employers from the beginning are still here.
Yes.
You know, which I think since 2007.
Yes.
Well, that I think I met you. So kudos to you. What we'll do, we'll be right back. Wow, Michelle, what a journey that has been from, you know, from your parents, your dad, a very, very hard worker, in the community, in church as well. Your journey from being retrenched and not finding something you wanted for your son, and being able to say, well, you know what, I'm going to start this in my home. And you've started that, and as a business person. So as a business person, I know you shared earlier that, you know, the success for you is about keeping people employed. So what are some of the key lessons over the years of you being in business, you know, that you want to share with us?
Personally, Kemi, I think for one, perseverance. Okay. Things may get tough, but if it's something that you're passionate about. You will keep going. You know, taking one day at a time. I think that in my sector, personally, coming up with creative ideas all the time, keeping people interested. You may not be able to, as I would say, marketing is extremely important. You may not be able to employ people, but these days you are able to use your statuses on WhatsApp. Right. You are able to use Facebook and Instagram. It doesn't cost you anything. Just be out there as often as possible. Start with your family, start with your friends. Make sure that they know what you are doing. You know, I do a personalised gift. Are you going to a baby shower? Are you going to a wedding? So that they are permanently looking at you first before going anywhere else.
Right.
You know, always use integrity. At core, be an honest person. I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake on your garment. I am truly sorry. You know, I will replace it. You know, just bear with me. Even if it costs you. Operate.
That I can testify to so many times, because I'm a difficult client and customer. I know that.
Yes.
And but each time, you know, there's been problem. You guys have always said, no, we'll fix it. We'll find a way. And that's what keeps me coming back. And the fact that, yeah, I can come with 10 or I can come with 1.
Yes.
And yeah, wow, what interesting tips you've shared there.
Thank
I don't know
you.
if there's any more, because I was just writing there.
Yes.
There's just so much, you know, there. Is
Yes.
there any more that you feel you haven't, you know, shared in terms of key lessons, you know?
No, I think perseverance comes
Perseverance
through.
is
Yes,
a
I've
key
said
one.
it. Yes, it's a key
So,
one.
Let's now go on to you now as a person.
Yes.
What keeps you going, and you know, as a leader, you know, in your establishment, and I know you're a very hands-on leader.
Yeah.
How do you do it? What are the essential qualities that people need to have, you know, to be a good leader?
You know, Kimmy, as I've explained or alluded to previously, it can be very difficult. I think COVID threw all of us a curveball. And I will take that, you know, as my starting point for you. It was extremely difficult to think, what are we going to do now? People is what makes our business. Branding is what makes our business. And just like the tourist industry, that would be the last thing you would even think of, is branding your company at this stage. So getting up in the morning, then deciding, okay, fine, masks seems to be what we need to do now. You know, what I'm saying is changing with times. Think of the concept and what can you do to make a difference and to keep going. And because Embroidery at Home was started because of my creative nature, I think to just keep coming up with ideas of just piquing people's interest, you know, what interests them now. For argument's sake, what are we looking at now? We're looking at Christmas, we're looking at teachers' gifts. You know, keep coming up with an idea, just keep trying. If it's something that's extremely important to you, you will find what it is and what it needs for you to just make it work, just to get through today.
Interesting. So, I know you probably have a lot of hobbies, or maybe you don't, because maybe there's no time for hobbies. But I know one of the things you've started doing is knitting. And that's because of your personal journey in terms of being a breast cancer survivor. Can you share with us that, and as well this product, knitted knockers? I need to get it right. And that's just a lovely name. But before we go to knitted knockers, I want to hear your story, you know, as a survivor.
Yes, and thank you for being on my path at that time. If I can share a bit of my testimony.
Please.
So, Kimmy, in 2011, I think I started that year, I will always say, and I felt so at peace. You know, we were settled in our home, we had our machines, we had our staff, everything just looked right. And my older sister, as I've already said, she kept saying, Michelle, you are 40, it's time to go and have a mammogram. And at the time, I just felt, you know what, it's not really necessary. My mom was on medical aid because as soon as all of us siblings were working and, you know, we were settled in our jobs, we put my mom and dad on medical aid. So they were on medical aid. Mom went for all her tests and she didn't have breast cancer. And you know that you're under the illusion that it comes from from your mom. And but she insisted, and eventually in February I decided, okay, fine, I'll go for a mammogram so she can be happy and we can just get on with the rest of the line. Lo and behold, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I always just make people understand that it's as though you were standing on a carpet and somebody just pulled it out from under you and you sat flat. And it was devastating. I think you knew me at that time, and I think every time I spoke there were tears in my eyes. And so that started our cancer journey.
That was in 2011.
2011. In March I had a mastectomy of my right breast, and I started chemotherapy soon after that, which ended in the September of that year. I then went on a 10-year tamoxifen tablet, which has also helped me towards, you know, just staying in remission. A few years ago, I was invited to Global Fabrics, and they had a lady there that then introduced me to knitted knockers, and I just thought this was an amazing concept because of my own personal journey, nothing else. In that when I went through it, Kimmy, I didn't have anyone telling me, you know, what do I do now? My breast has been removed, what do I do? And a normal prosthesis costs money. Fortunately, I was on medical aid and I could go that route. But, you know, at the time, I think I would have been so grateful if someone had introduced me to knitted knockers. So knitted knockers, if I could show you.
Please.
Yes, knitted knockers. They are made from a hand-spun wool, which means they are completely safe for anyone's skin. Right. Because with a knitted knocker, you do not need a special bra. You can pop this straight into your normal bra. By special bra, I mean a normal prosthesis is quite heavy.
Okay.
And you need an insert in your bra so that you put your knocker, your normal prosthesis fits into that. Otherwise, it will slip right out, Kemi. It's completely, yes. Wow. It will be completely uncomfortable and something you will need to be aware of at all time. Also, it's made of a, you know, material that will sweat. So will cause you to perspire. Whereas with this, I know it's easy to wear, it's soft, it's gentle on your skin. You can just pop it into a normal bra. And I got very enthusiastic about this project.
So how long have you been involved in this
It's been about 4 years.
Okay. So, and what do you and your team and the other volunteers do? You give it out free?
Yes.
Okay.
A knitted knocker must always be given free of charge.
And I saw what you wrote on the box. Maybe let's pick a box to show "Made with Love."
Yes.
You know,
yes.
It's written on it. No, it's fine. Don't worry about that. It's up. So yeah, and you package it so, you know, beautiful.
Yes.
You know, like you said, there's a 2. And it's very light.
Yes.
And so we need to make sure that women are aware of this.
Yes.
Because I know, you haven't gone deep, and I know maybe time might not permit us to even do that, into even how you felt after the operation, you know, for you as a woman.
Yes.
Because, you know, suddenly it's like, oh, one of my breasts is to go.
Yes.
And our breast is part of us. So it's like something, I believe, was taken out of you. How did you feel? Maybe let me just ask that bit for you personally.
I think, Kemi, you are lopsided. When you look in the mirror, you are lopsided. A huge part of you is gone. As a woman, unfortunately, your breasts form part of who you are. You know, and can I just acknowledge my husband? You know, that was never part of why he loved me. The whole me was part of who he loved. I've heard stories, about women that didn't have that type of support, and it actually ended their marriage. I did. And for me, just to know that he loved me irrespective, I think gave me the opportunity to explore a Nitanoka, to explore a different, to feel comfortable in not having reconstructive surgery. Because remember, for me, it had caught me completely off guard. And so making the decision to have reconstruction was a difficult one, because is it going to come back? Unfortunately, Kemi, I cannot explain to any other women what they may be feeling. But for me, it was catching me completely unaware and thinking about reconstruction, and then maybe they pick up with something again, and then I have to go through the whole operation. I was never comfortable with that. I was more comfortable with accepting who I am and just finding something that would work for me and that would restore my dignity.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Wow. I really have a lot of respect, for you, and I can only wish you well. And, you're a woman of faith. I know that very well, and I believe, that we always feel sometimes, why me?
Yes.
When things happen to us.
Yes.
And I think I'm learning as well, that other bit to say, why not me?
Yes.
Because it's a journey that God puts in our life to testify, because now it is a testimony for you, and you're able, to share that and to help other women in their self-image, their dignity, to encourage them, to empower them, and to use your hand, turn it around, basically. You've turned that negative experience into a positive.
Yes.
So kudos to you and for all you do. We'll be right back for the next segment. Michelle, what a journey, as a breast cancer survivor. And, I just feel so blessed to have you in my life and to have met you. And the fact that you have a good support system, your elder sister who encouraged you, at that time, to go for a mammogram. And like you said, at that time, you're like 40. When you're away 40, we're like, no, why?
Yes.
But thank God, for how God used her as well for that time. And the time of the tears, the down moments, and you had young children, at that time.
Yes.
So I'm sure there were probably a lot, going in you. And we thank God for your husband who has been there and, holding your hand and supporting you, because, some partners can't, they can't help, without condemning them, but they they can't understand it, and they can't, they're just being human as well. Not that, they want to. That's what I see sometimes, because I know of cases, like that, where they themselves, their self-esteem is gone, but God.
Yes, definitely.
God, who makes us to see beyond, that. Now let's go to the community. In terms of some of what you're doing in the community, and I know, you support your daughter who is teaching and a lot of other stuff. There are a lot of issues we have in our areas, be it Retreat, be it Heathfield, be it Kalicha, and so on, especially in the previously disadvantaged community, people, as well, with poverty, unemployment, rape, girl child, issues and so on. I don't know if there's any of those things that means something to you. not to talk about that problem, but
Yes.
to talk about what you think could be the solution to that issue.
Yes. You know, Kemi, I've heard recently about a bus line. I'm not sure if you know
I've heard
about
of
it. Yes. And where women or people in the community actually guide the children to school. And that to me is one of the initiatives at this specific moment that stand out in saying that, you know, what can we do? That may not be the area in which we are able to contribute. For argument's sake, we have work commitments, and you've alluded to my daughter. I have commitments still as far as my children are concerned. But for us, just as a community of women, you know, who believe to do what we can in our circle, I believe that you can make a difference in your circle. You know, what do I personally do as far as the unemployment rate is concerned in retreat? You know, I employ people from my community. If I need anything done, I will find out who is unemployed to cut my lawn, to do what it is that I can do. I know that is something small, but to the next person it is huge. So the bus line, I think, is such a big thing. You know, what can we do as a community to uplift? And to stop the gangs from getting our children, you know, and I think that is one of the big things at the moment that I'm so proud of. So to find out in our area, what would be like it, you know, what would we be able to do that's similar to, that would uplift, but would contribute and would help our children get from point A to point B safely. I haven't come up with the brightest idea at the moment, but that is something that really means it's working.
That we'll be doing.
Yes.
Because like you shared at the beginning of your journey, where with 5 children in a 2-bed flat, you probably played on the street together, things were safe relatively, but now, you know, we hear all the stories about children being killed, raped, or women or girls. And it is really sad, but you're right. The bus line, and I don't think there's more promotion of that, but there might be other ideas, you know, that one could take, you know, from there. Before I go into in closing and what you want to share, I just want to obviously just commend you, you know, for your work. For me, I see it as quality work.
Thank you.
Done with love, you know, as well. And paying attention as well to details. You inspire me to be better as well, you know, personally. And I've seen, you know, the growth, you know, of your organization. And I continue to pray, you know, that God, you know, will continue to guide you, to bless you, to lift you up, to be a blessing. And He will continue to give you that health, you know, that you need to be able to do that and to be there for others, especially your immediate family. So in closing, I want you to speak to anybody out there, word of encouragement, anything you want to share with them, anyone you want to speak directly to. So in closing.
Thank you, Mama Kay. So what would my one thing be that I could leave with you? And that is to keep persevering. Life often gives you very difficult challenges. And I always just feel that at that time you will have the right people on your path to keep encouraging you. My word to you today is keep going. You know, things may be extremely difficult. Find something that you're passionate about. And more importantly, find something you could do that has meaning to you and will help you give back to others. Always be a blessing to others, and your blessings will come in different ways, but they will come. And I wish you everything of the best. If you are struggling to get started, just put that first foot forward today and do it. Success is in your hands, and success is measured by your terms, not by anyone else's. So good luck. Just get moving, get doing what you need to do. Have a great day.
Wow, that is deep. What I'm finding out with this thing, and I'm just so blessed because each time I'm like, no, we need to do a part two of this because it is so apt, what everybody shares, and there, keep persevering, life, keep going, find something you want to do, give back to others, just do it, success in your hands. So much nuggets, in there. And I know people sometimes go, no, but we've heard it before. But it's sometimes good to keep hearing it.
Yes.
And, hearing it from different angles and from people like yourself, in terms of the journey, that you've been through. So, Mrs. Michelle Jones, thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure we'll be back, maybe then to speak to your staff and to see how some of these things are made. We'll be back at some point, to do that. Would you welcome us back?
Anytime. You've been part of my life since 2007. We'll be there for each other for a while.
And
Thank you.
One thing I ask as well, my guest, is we're always looking for mentors.
Yes.
And I'm making sure it's being public.
It's
now.
on TV.
So would you mind, being a mentor for a young girl, it's up to you how that works out, but we're keeping a database of people we want to be mentors, either to help them in how to start a business, how to run a business, or just for them to share their ideas with.
Yes.
Will that be something you wouldn't mind us adding?
No, I'd love that, Kimmy. Okay. I think I have so much to share. I shared it with my children. I'd love to share it with a younger person that, will grow.
Awesome.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
You heard it. Another mentor to our database here now. Thank you
Kimmy.
so much, and wishing you all the best, and all the team at Embroidery at Home, from Cindy to shout out to Maureen. Shout out to Maureen, to Cindy, to
Monique.
Yeah, shout out to all of them. And well done for doing what you're doing. You might not know it, but you are definitely impacting lives positively. All of you together, and keep persevering, like you heard Michelle said. Till next time, this is Mama K saying, God is love. Remember, stay safe, stay blessed. Love you all. Adios.